What if your next iPhone could edit photos with AI, promise 30+ hours of battery life, and capture mind-blowing spatial video? Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, buckle up, because the latest leaks suggest the iPhone 16 might just turn these dreams into reality. Design changes, a fresh look for 2024. Let's kick things off with what we might see on the outside of the iPhone 16. While Apple supply chain expert Ming-Chi Kuo suggests we shouldn't expect any earth-shattering exterior changes, there are still some intriguing tweaks on the horizon. First up, we've got the rumored capture button. This new addition has reportedly popped up on iPhone 16 prototypes and could be a game changer for mobile photographers. Think of it as a dedicated camera shutter button with the added bonus of focus control. It's like having a mini DSLR right in your pocket. But wait, there's more. Remember that fancy action button that made its debut on the iPhone 15 Pro? Well, word on the street is that it might be trickling down to the standard iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus models. This customizable button could open up a world of quick access possibilities for all iPhone users, not just the Pro crowd. Now, let's talk camera layout. Leaks suggest that the non-Pro iPhone 16 models might be getting a vertical camera arrangement. This isn't just about aesthetics. It could potentially enable these models to shoot spatial video, a feature previously reserved for the Pro versions. It's an exciting prospect that could bring more immersive content creation to a wider audience. Color-wise, we might be in for a treat. Rumor has it that Apple's adding a new rose option to the iPhone 16 Pro lineup. And for those who love the classics, space black and silver might be making a comeback. As for the standard models, we could see the return of all iPhone 15 colors, plus some fresh white and purple options, shaping up to be a veritable rainbow of choices. Display upgrades, bigger and better. Now, let's shift our focus to what might be the most noticeable upgrade for many users, the display. We've got some exciting rumors swirling around about potential screen improvements that could make the iPhone 16 a visual powerhouse. First up, size matters. The word on the street is that we might see larger displays on the Pro models. The iPhone 16 Pro could grow to 6.3 inches, while the Pro Max might stretch all the way to 6.9 inches. That's a significant bump up from the current sizes and could make a real difference for media consumption and productivity. Imagine having even more screen real estate for your favorite apps, games, and videos. But it's not just about size. There's talk of new OLED technology that could make the screens more power efficient. Samsung might be supplying a new material set that replaces blue fluorescent tech with blue phosphorescence. In simpler terms, we could be looking at brighter, more vibrant displays that sip less battery. It's a win-win situation. Now, here's where things get really interesting. There are whispers about the possibility of micro LED displays making their debut. This cutting-edge technology could offer even better brightness and color reproduction while being even more energy efficient. However, it's worth noting that this might be a bit of a long shot for the iPhone 16. We might have to wait another year or two to see this tech in action. For the standard iPhone 16 and 16 Plus models, we might not see as dramatic changes. They're likely to stick with their current 6.1-inch and 6.7-inch sizes. However, there's a silver lining. All models might get thinner bezels around the display. This could make the screens appear even larger without increasing the overall size of the phone. One potential disappointment for the base models? They might be stuck with the 60 Hz refresh rate. In a world where many Android phones offer 90 Hz or higher, this could be a bit of a letdown for some users. Performance boost, powering up with A18. Alright tech heads, let's talk about what's going to be under the hood of the iPhone 16. After all, a pretty face is nice, but it's what's inside that counts, right? And boy, do we have some exciting rumors to share about the potential performance upgrades coming our way. First up, let's chat about the chip. There's buzz that all iPhone 16 models could be sporting the new A18 chip. This would be a departure from Apple's recent strategy of giving the base models last year's Pro chip. If this rumor holds true, it could mean a significant performance boost across the entire lineup. We're talking faster processing, smoother multitasking, and potentially even better power efficiency. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Pro models might get an even more powerful version of the A18. This could widen the performance gap between the standard and Pro models, giving power users even more reason to opt for the pricier versions. Now, let's talk RAM. There's chatter about a potential upgrade to 8 GB of RAM for all models. More RAM means better multitasking and app performance, which could be a game changer for heavy users. But wait, there's more. We might also see support for Wi-Fi 6E or even Wi-Fi 7 on the Pro models. This could mean faster and more reliable internet speeds when you're connected to compatible networks. It's the kind of upgrade that you might not notice right away, but it could make a big difference in your day-to-day use. Storage-wise, we could be in for a treat. While the base models will likely start at 128 gigabytes, there's a chance Apple might make 256 gigabytes the new standard across the board. And for the data hoarders out there, the Pro models might offer up to a whopping 2 terabytes of storage. Camera improvements. Now, let's zoom in on one of the most anticipated aspects of any new iPhone, the camera system. After all, for many of us, our iPhone is our primary camera, capturing everything from everyday moments to once-in-a-lifetime memories. So, what kind of photography and videography upgrades might we see in the iPhone 16? First up, let's talk about the main camera. Rumors suggest that we might see a size upgrade for the 48-megapixel main sensor. We're hearing it could grow from 1 by 1.28 inches to 1 by 1.14 inches. Now that might not sound like much, but in the world of smartphone cameras, it's a significant bump. A larger sensor typically means better light capture, which could translate to brighter, more detailed photos, especially in challenging lighting conditions. But the upgrades don't stop there. The Pro models might be in for a real treat with a potential 48-megapixel ultra-wide camera. This would be a massive jump from the current 12-megapixel ultra-wide and could open up a whole new world of possibilities for wide-angle photography and videography. Imagine capturing vast landscapes or cramped interiors with even more detail and clarity. Now, here's something that might make the standard iPhone 16 models more appealing to creative types. There's talk of a return to the vertical camera arrangement, last seen on the iPhone 12. But this isn't just about aesthetics. It could potentially enable these models to shoot spatial video. This feature, which creates a 3D-like effect, has previously been limited to the Pro models. If this rumor pans out, it could be a big win for content creators who don't want to shell out for a Pro model. Speaking of the Pro models, we might see some significant improvements in the zoom department. There's chatter about the iPhone 16 Pro adopting the tetraprism telephoto lens with 5x zoom capabilities, currently only found on the Pro Max. This could be a game changer for those who love to capture distant subjects without losing quality. But what about the front-facing camera? Well, we might have to wait a bit longer for any major upgrades there. The word is that we'll likely see the same 12-megapixel selfie cameras as on the iPhone 15. However, there's a silver lining apparently. A big upgrade to 24 megapixels is in the works for the iPhone 17. Battery and charging. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about what might be powering all these fancy new features. The battery. After all the cutting-edge tech in the world doesn't mean much if your phone dies halfway through the day, right? Well, we've got some potentially good news on this front. Leaks are suggesting that we might see increased battery sizes for the iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro, and iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, bigger doesn't always mean better when it comes to battery life, but it's certainly a promising start. For the Pro models, we're hearing some specific numbers. The iPhone 16 Pro might get a bump up to 3,577 mAh battery, while the Pro Max could see an increase to 4,747 mAh. That's a pretty significant increase from the current models, which could translate to some serious staying power. But here's where things get really interesting. There's a rumor floating around that Apple might be aiming for over 30 hours of battery life for the new iPhones. Now, that's quite a claim, considering the current models are only promised all-day battery life. If this pans out, it could be a game changer for heavy users or those who are always on the go. However, it's not all good news on the battery front. There's a whisper that the iPhone 16 Plus might actually see a 6% decrease in battery capacity. It's a bit of a head-scratcher, but we'll have to wait and see how this plays out in real-world usage. As for charging, we haven't heard much about potential upgrades there. It's likely we'll see similar charging speeds to what we have now. But who knows? Apple might surprise us with faster charging capabilities to match that potentially larger battery. Well, that wraps up. Thanks for watching. If you're as excited about the iPhone 16 as we are, smash that like button and subscribe for more tech updates. What feature are you most hyped for? Let us know in the comments below.